Can you hear back there? Okay, there we go. It's on now. Thanks. Okay. We're gonna have. Okay. Let's see.
Well, good afternoon. We have a nice breeze flowing through the tent, which is, well, nice feeling off. Although we are going to look at a very hot topic right now. War is a racket, a few profit, and many pay. It's a significant quote. On the back page of SIT Rep, the publication of Iraq Veterans Against the War, and we have a few of them here this afternoon to talk to you individually about their experiences. We have Derek Giffin, Adam Navarro, Marty Webster, Benjamin Thompson, Aaron Hughes, Leonard Shelton, and also Teresa Dawson of the Veterans and Military Families for Progress. And I'll turn over now, and I hope you're going to be enlightened.
Marty from Vietnam Veterans Against the War, if you would.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. My name is Marty Webster, and I'm a National Coordinator for Vietnam Veterans Against the War. I was raised in a very conservative household. I was raised in an aura of patriotism. I went to school during the 40s and 50s, and to criticize your government or the president, especially during a time of war, was totally unheard of. So I did the honorable thing. I enlisted to go to Southeast Asia and beat up commies. We had to get rid of the big red menace in Moscow and destroy it before it overtook the world. In 1964, there was an incident in the Gulf of Tonkin where the media made up a story through the bidding of our government that our ships were being attacked by the North Vietnamese. This was entirely untrue, and our young men and women were thrust into battle under the pretense of a lie. And my God, it's happened again. We have a president who has fabricated an unbelievable amount, and I believe the last I heard it was 77 lies that are placing our young men and women this day in harm's way. And it has to stop. I suffer greatly from post-traumatic stress disorder. One of the reasons I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder is because I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was defending my country. But it didn't take long before I found out that my country had lied to me. And I suffer greatly from post-traumatic stress disorder because of the fact that my country had lied to me. And number two, because how could I, as a fairly intelligent individual, allow this to happen to me? Several years ago, there were news clips all over the place of people jumping out of the Twin Towers. Suicides, people jumping out of the towers because of fear of death or just trying to get out of the emblazonment. Big rolls of thunder and clouds coming down the streets of the United States, and they were showing it in other countries, and people were cheering. And our young men and women stood up and said, we're not going to take this. We're going to go out and we're going to defend our country. And I honor those people who did that. But it wasn't long before these people found out that they too had been lied to by our administration. And they're suffering now, and they're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. In March of this year, in the National Labor College, around 100 Vietnam veterans, Iraq Veterans Against the War stood and they shared with the country their experiences about what's really going on in Iraq. And some of them are here today, and they're going to share their experiences with you. I ask you, listen to these people. Talk to these people. There are hope. Iraq Veterans Against the War is the greatest organization we have in the United States of America today.
name is Teresa Dawson. I'm the Executive Director of Veterans and Military Families for Progress. We advocate and create legislation for our veterans and their families because we realize the sacrifice involved. I also am the parent of a soldier who's currently on his second deployment with the Ohio National Guard. When my son signed up for the Guard at age 17, I had to sign him in. He'd wanted to do it since he was in the 4th grade. My son has a Purple Heart and a Meritorious Service Medal at the age of 20. I'm very proud of his service, but I'm not proud of the way this government has treated our veterans and their families. I commend these young men for standing up, and the women who are also Iraq vets against the war. I have a daughter in the Army Reserves. Fortunately, she has not been deployed except to Pennsylvania. It takes a lot to stand up and tell this type of government, which I do not recognize as someone who was educated in the criminal justice system in college. This isn't what I was taught. But it takes a lot of bravery to stand up and tell them they're wrong and it needs to stop. We're not going to let this go on for 58,000 soldiers' lives lost. No more!
Check. Okay, just admin note for everybody coming in to speak. This is a media mic, so make sure you get it. Speak that too, guys. Good afternoon, people of Columbus. Thank you very much, first of all, to you for being here and inviting us here. So thank you very much to you guys. Thank you. It's a great festival. You guys really rolled out the red carpet for us. ComFest is great, so thanks again. My name's Adam Navarro. I am a veteran. I'm a member of Iraq Veterans Against the War, and I'm the media coordinator for the Chicago and Great Lakes region. So I'm going to give you, I guess, a little info session on who we are. Who are we? Iraq Veterans Against the War. Well, we're composed of now over 1,200 members nationwide, every major city, and a few other countries like Canada, Germany, Italy as well. All of us stand together. We're all veterans of this quote-unquote global war on terror. Since the towers were struck, like Marty mentioned, until now. So it includes, the occupation of Iraq, Afghanistan, and other areas you may or may not know that we operate in. So our 3 points of unity we stand together on are, number one, immediate withdrawal of occupational forces from Iraq. The second point of unity is we advocate for full veterans benefits. We pick up the slack where the government's failing us. The VA health system, and within their own ranks, the systems that are set up and in place that are failing us while we're actually in the military. So we do that on our second point of unity. Our third point is reparations for the Iraqi people who are victimized, have been victimized under this occupation. And if you don't know what I mean, I invite you all to come to our website, www.ibaw.org, and there you can view the winter soldier testimonies that Marty mentioned earlier, which some of us were panelists on here today. That was in March. So we want to wake the nation up. What's going to happen now is I'm going to let my brothers here speak. We are well represented here. We've got Chicago, Indiana, Cleveland, and right here, Benjamin's from Columbus. So we're well represented here today. So with that, I think we're going to have Derek come up and talk about his experience. Actually, I forgot to give mine. I was in the 101st Airborne Division. I spent 3 years military policeman, and I served in Kosovo. And I was on combat patrol when the towers were hit. So that's where it all starts, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thanks, and we're going to let Derek come up.
Hello, thank you for having me, Columbus. So my name is Derek Giffin. I'm a veteran of the 1st Cavalry Division, Fort Hood, Texas. I'd like to say hi to Ebony Brown, also of the 1st Cavalry Division. She was my battle buddy in Iraq, and without her, I probably couldn't have gotten through it. I joined the Army in 2000. I graduated in 1999, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself, but I was going to school, I didn't really have a direction, and it had been understood by me since I knew which side of the crib smelled the worst that I was going to go to college. I remember vividly my father saying that it was my responsibility to pay for college and that they were moving to Texas, and so I was going to move in with my 3 friends. Well, the one friend had a sister, and it was the unspoken rule that you didn't mess with the sister. Needless to say, one of the friends in this trifecta did indeed that, so I was in the middle of an inter-friend civil war. My parents were moving to Houston, I needed college money, and lo and behold, I got a call from a college recruiter, an Army recruiter saying that, asking me if I needed college money, which in fact I did. So my parents asked me if I was going to Texas, and I said, fuck Texas, I'm joining the Army. So I found myself in the 1st Cavalry Division, and the first year being an active duty soldier was pretty uneventful, just field training exercises and formations and things of the sort. I remember one of those field training exercises was in August of 2001. We went to the Mojave Desert on a desert training exercise, and I remember coming back from that 45-day field training exercise. This was about September 9th, 2001. We were on a 4-day pass, and I remember 2 days later, on that morning, getting a knock on the door. It was my friend Derek, who wanted to go to the DFAC, that's military speak for dining facility, and get some breakfast. So I remember, like it was yesterday, we opened the door to the dining facility, and usually when you open that door, you know, you're met with the raucous noise of soldiers sharing their exploits from the previous night, but this morning, not so much. Every soldier was glued to the television. I remember looking at the television screen and thinking that some Jerry Bruckheimer movie was on. I think it was the North Tower was on fire. It was the first one to get hit. I don't know if that's the right tower, but I didn't really know what to make of it. All I knew is that, you know, all the soldiers were quiet. And as I'm making my way through the chow hall line, I see the second tower get hit by a hijacked airplane, and it was at that second that I knew that for the first time since 1814, the United States of America was under attack. So I was a member of the 1st Cavalry Division, which is the biggest division within the military, so I knew that whatever was to transpire, I was going to be involved in some shape, form, or fashion. And the first couple of weeks, we were expecting deployment orders to come down the chain, and 1 week turned into 2, turned into 3, and still no orders. But on the 7th week after September 11th, we finally got our orders for deployment. And I should preface by saying that I've never been outside of the country prior to my military experience, so I was pretty anxious about what to expect. So, you know, I was waiting for the intelligence briefing so that I would have some idea of what was to happen. And I remember sitting down in the Army theater waiting for a military intelligence officer to brief us on what to expect. Actually, I think I missed a step. I remember we were standing in formation, and there was a box circulating throughout the ranks. And being that this is 7 weeks after September 11th, I'm fully expecting, I'm sorry, inside these boxes were pamphlets, kind of like cliff notes of the destination we were to deploy. And being that this is after September 11th, I'm expecting my pamphlet to be entitled Afghanistan, but mine was entitled Iraq, so I was a little befuddled by that. So I'm going into this theater to wait for the intelligence briefing, not knowing what to expect because I was only 10 during the first Persian Gulf War, so I really didn't know what we were about to face. So, in no uncertain terms, the military intelligence officer let us know that the sanctions following the first Persian Gulf War had left Saddam's forces utterly decimated and they were unable to reconstitute their forces. They had nothing in the weapons of nuclear, biological, chemical weapons, NBC, which is military speak for WMDs. So, in 2004, before my deployment, I had serious misgivings about the rationale for war, being that I had already been briefed about what to expect. Again, I should add that after that briefing, I was deployed to that area in 2001 for 5 uneventful months. So in 2004, I was deployed to Iraq, and that was a time of personal renaissance for me because all I had to do was look outside to see that the rationale for war and the things that I had been briefed about in 2001 were definitely untrue. And I spent that time just inundating myself with knowledge, trying to figure out what was going on. I was supposed to get out of the Army in 2004, but I was stopped, lost, and sent to Iraq, so I spent 5 years of my early 20s in the Army. And in 2005, when I got out, I made a vow to myself that I would do something, say something, anything to stop this war and to give credence that this war is bullshit, it always has been bullshit, and that we need to do something about it. And I was this Memorial Day I gave a speech in Ogden Dunes, Indiana, and there was one line from the speech that everybody raised hell over, and I would like to just address, I wrote some words down over this because it kind of had been bothering me, but I would like to address, I would like to address an issue that came up in that speech. All right, here we go. No one disagrees with the concept that soldiers die honorably in honorable wars. Why then are people in such an uproar by a line I gave in a speech where I made the assertion that an honorable death can only be given in an honorable war? Surely it is logical to assume that soldiers die dishonorably in dishonorable wars. I mean, if soldiers died honorably in honorable wars, why isn't the opposite true? It seems that just because it is too unbearably painful to admit the obvious truth that soldiers have died due to the nefarious intentions of a government gone mad, we should all of a sudden refuse to adhere to logic. I refuse to do that. I will, however, be realistic. In 2004, while I was in Iraq, the justifications for wars seemed to change weekly as false ones were replaced by new ones. After a while, things disintegrated to the point where the sole mission was to cover your buddy's ass so that everybody could survive and go home to their loved ones. I will submit that soldiers who have died while engaged in this particular mission, which probably accounts for 99.9% of them, have indeed died honorably. The problem comes when the death of soldiers is used politically. For example, John McCain has recently made the argument that we must win in Iraq, whatever the fuck that means, so as to not dishonor the fallen. He claims that to pull out now would amount to betrayal. The hypocrisy of sending troops to their death without just cause, then claiming betrayal when some aim to curtail a mistake, is laughable. Where does the betrayal exist, I ask you? Is the greater betrayal in sending troops to their death for an ill-begotten war, or in simply stopping more from suffering the same terminal fate? Moreover, does anybody really believe soldiers prefer their potential deaths to be given for Iraqi democracy instead of avenging the attacks of September 11th? This juxtaposition is akin to soldiers preferring to die preventing Korea from slipping into communism rather than avenging Pearl Harbor. Allow me to reiterate that we didn't give a fuck about Iraq's faux democracy while we were over there. We wanted to come home alive, period. That was the mission. We would have preferred our lives to have been risked in response to September 11th, not in spite of it. But that's just it. There's no honor in our wars. Our leaders won't allow for it. Instead, they use the death of soldiers to inject honor into their dishonorable wars. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. All they have done is inject tragedy. I'll let you in on a little secret though. Justifications for war are always ancillary to initiating war itself. Those who want war know that all they have to do is get one soldier killed. After that soldier dies, the validity and the justifications for war go out the window and are supplanted with honoring the death of Private John Doe by charging forward to victory. Honoring the fallen with victory becomes the mantra and the new justification for war. Then Private Jane Doe dies. Now the war must go on in order to honor both of them. Moreover, the war must now be prosecuted with greater intensity because there are multiple casualties. Next thing you know, about 4,100 soldiers are dead and the profiteers have their war. You see, war snowballs on itself. Vietnam was an example of this. Do we really want to wait until we get 58,000 dead? But this is my point. If we allow soldiers' death to justify an unjustifiable war, we eventually come to a point where we have to ask ourselves how many deaths will be enough. Even if war is won, the question will always linger whether victory was truly achieved due to the extreme sacrifice. Would Vietnam really have been worth it had South Vietnam's government had been able to stand on its own? If there's one thing I've learned as a soldier, it's that war is a tautology that amounts to tragedy. This is why we must make sure that justifications for war are always sound. In summation, we must be wary against allowing the fallen to be used as political fodder in the debate whether a certain war is justified. The death of soldiers must be independent and separate in said debate. Otherwise, it becomes emotional and thusly irrational. War is the most sober thing we can debate in American political discourse. Logic, facts, and reasons are the only ingredients allowed, not emotion. Just because the truth hurts like hell does not make it any less true. Thank you.
I'm starting to run out of time, so I'm going to be really quick. My name is Thompson. I served in the U.S. Army for 8 years as a reservist. I was on active duty in Iraq in 2004 and 2005. My unit, the 391st Military Police Battalion, is out of Columbus, Ohio. I don't know if you people are aware of this or not, but there's actually quite a bit of military assets in this town, and there are a lot of veterans walking around on the streets here. We served at Upgrade, that prison that you all know about. We relieved the people that had taken all those photographs and caused that uproar. And we settled into a year of complete ridiculous political bullshit that would never end and had no consideration for the Iraqi lives that we were maintaining there. Our prison facility held upwards of 9,000 people at times, and these people were typically being guarded at about 100-to-1 ratio by our guards. We had little to no medical attention to provide for them, thus people died from lack of chronic medications that they'd been taking for decades. People died of heart attacks, dehydration, the food poisoning that people would get just from eating the food that we provided for them certainly didn't help them either. The insurgency came to full bloom during my tour in Iraq, and in April of 2004 we sustained extremely heavy casualties to our detainee populations on 2 separate incidents, which went completely unnoticed in the American media until someone accidentally thought that they had been soldiers that died. Then it was a news story. These Iraqi people that we are arresting are not even guilty of anything. The units that are out in the field make hard decisions, but company commanders have to end up rounding up city blocks. So we're teaching these people that when our country comes to town, you better hide. As long as we stay in that country and as long as the American flag is on military uniforms, there is going to be no peace in the Middle East. The resentment that has developed against us in that culture is something that we need to step away from and let air out. We are not going to be the good person here. We cannot solve this problem. It needs to be their resources, maybe our money, but those neighboring countries need to get involved. We're going to be speaking tonight, and hopefully we'll get some more time then. So, have a good day.
My name is Shelton. I'm from Lakewood, Ohio. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I served 20 years in the United States Marine Corps active duty. I'm a combat veteran. I fought in the first, as they call it, first Gulf War, 90-91. And in 2001, my unit was deployed from New Jersey to North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. And then from there, we were on the hunt for Osama bin Laden in the mountains of Kosovo. So I think he was supposed to be in Pakistan or something like that. So while we were there, I was responsible for 59 Marines. I was their platoon sergeant. I was the weapons platoon sergeant, and I started getting in confrontation with my leadership. So my first sergeant and my company commander and my platoon commander, as I was being very aggressive with, because I knew the mission was bullshit, relieved me of my duties, sent me back to the United States, and then I went to West Point, New York for a mental health evaluation because the first sergeant said that I was crazy and my head wasn't in the game. And I got to West Point, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, major depressive disorder with psychotic features. I'm not psychotic, by the way. And so after that, I started taking the medications because I was trying to get back into and finish my years because I was about 9 months from 20 years from retiring at the time. And the board came back, the medical board, that my evaluation went up to, and they said to be discharged from the Naval Service with post-traumatic stress disorder and major depressive disorder with 10% disability. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to tell my story real quick. Even though they say I can take my time, but I want to rush through it. The other part of it, so I did call my congressman, Dennis Kucinich, and I got the letters done and I got my retirement. So what me... So I did in fact retire as a gunnery sergeant, and on January 1st, 2005, and then I went to the federal building and got my blue ID card and said, okay, yeah, I have my ID card, I'm officially done now. And then I went to the Veterans Administration Hospital, and that's when the more of the fun began for me. So I've been on a total of 12 different psychotropic medications. I had put on 30 pounds of nothing. I got suspended and banned from the hospital when the Marines from Lima Company, 2nd Battalion, 25th Marines got killed here in Columbus in 2005. I had one of my emotional it just came about. However, I was in a hospital to get treatment, so they decided the best thing for me was to ban me for treatment for 30 days, and I was not to go back to the VA hospital for any type of treatment at all. So they kind of like threw me out amongst sheep amongst the wolves, I guess. And after that, oh, and then the other part I wanted to share with you. So I did in fact retire. I'm 100% disabled for my condition, but my retirement paycheck is a total of $1,740, and that paycheck that I receive every month is $207. That is what I get. And if anyone wants to see the paperwork, I can show it to you because I always carry it with me to show verification just in case anyone wants to question it. So they diagnosed me with these things and banned me from treatment. I have very serious problems trusting the VA hospital since they've done this to me. And I'm quite sure I'm not the only one that they've done it to. I found my family with Iraqi Veterans Against the War. I believe in it. And that's all I have to say. Thanks.
I hope you get to pick that up a little bit. So anyways, my name's Aaron Hughes. I joined the Illinois Army National Guard in 2000, right out of high school. And I joined because I wanted to help people. My family was from Louisiana, and I had seen what a hurricane can do. And when I was a little kid, I lived in a farm town, and I watched a tornado fly through my town and rip apart a bunch of houses. And the National Guard came and helped us out. And then when I was about 10 years old, right after, or 12 years old, in '93, the floods came through Mississippi. On the Mississippi, and it really, I saw the National Guard go down there, and I thought, this is something I could do. So when I talked to the National Guard recruiter, I talked to him about, hey, sandbagging rivers, and that's what we need right now. In Iowa, the Mississippi's flooding again, and that's what I really wanted to do, and that's what I set out to do. And in 2003, so I went to college. We're getting some wind. Wow, this is great, dramatic, huh? Anyway, so I went to college, and I was thinking, if I get deployed, I'm gonna get deployed to help, my state, help the country, rebuild some stuff. Well, the September 11th happens, and I know everything's changed. I know things are gonna be different. I have a feeling I might get deployed nationally or across the world. I don't know what's going on. I sit and wait. 2003, 2002, I watched the war build up. And I think this is asinine. I'm getting these reports, these military documents saying there are no weapons of mass destruction from my command, from these military handbooks, and yet they're still selling this on the media. And so I knew this was never going to be the reason why we're going over there, but I still thought, hey, Saddam Hussein's a terrible guy. These people have been under sanctions for 10 years. They can use some relief. They can use some support. They can use some help. So I ended up getting deployed. And it was in January. I was a junior at the University of Illinois, and I got called out of school. And just like that, I dropped out, and I went to my guard unit. I had to be there in 72 hours. What are you saying? Maybe you should make an announcement. If she's saying there's a bad storm coming, well, the National Guard would be needed, and they'd be in Iraq.
Okay, just, take caution. Watch it. We might leave people to hold the tents down. I've seen it in the past here at ComFest, but just know that there is some weather moving this way. And, but these guys, I couldn't be happier that they came, and that we have everybody here, witnessing their testimonies. And give these guys a hand, hang in there. And we're going to have them out in some other stages tonight. But for right now, let's just kind of take caution and know that the weather, it does look like it's kind of moving this direction. But we'll let you know. And we haven't gotten anything major from but we know that, we're kind of bad. There you go.
All right, I'm going to try and finish this off in the next 10 minutes. So come on inside, hang out for 10 more minutes. Let me finish my story. Let me remind you guys a little bit more to me. So I'm a truck driver. I'm a truck driver in the Illinois Army National Guard, thinking I'm going to be hauling sandbags. I get deployed. I get pulled out of college. I'm a junior. You don't get any extra credit. You don't get to say, oh no, I'm in school. I don't want to go. No, they say, hey, your ass is getting deployed. Be there in 72 hours. They show up at the armory. But the problem was our trucks were from 1953 and we didn't have all the parts for them. We spent the next 3 months stealing equipment from other military units to get the equipment for our trucks so we could get deployed, because if we got deployed without it, we wouldn't have spare tires for our own trucks. That's the type of situation I got deployed in. I got deployed in my BDU greens with a flag vest with no plates. And we didn't have plates for that entire deployment until after we were there a year. I was there a year, 3 months, and 7 days. After we were there a year, we got 15 plates. 15 plates for 170 soldiers. What do you do with 15 plates for 170 soldiers? So what did? No one wore them. No one wore them, because that'd be sacrilege. So like, who are you're gonna let the youngest guy have it? You're gonna let the hell no, the commander's not gonna wear it. I'll shoot the commander before he gets to wear it, and my battle buddy doesn't. It's like that. That's how it was rolling. No one's wearing it. So we get over there. We get over there in April. President Bush gets up on stage. Mission's complete. We've done a wonderful job. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, you know what I think? I think hoorah, hoorah. Let's go. We're gonna start hauling up medical supplies. We're gonna start hauling up humanitarian relief. I'm a truck driver. I'm excited about this. I got these trucks from 1953. That's all right. We're gonna haul supplies up, engineering equipment. We're gonna fix some roads. We're gonna fix the bridges we blew up. I found that we get our first mission up to Iraq, and you go up to Navistar. It's the base that sits on the corner of Kuwait and right on the border. And you lock and load. I got my M249 squad automatic weapon that shoots out 200 rounds in about a minute, just like that. It's fully automatic. You're ready to go, and you fully load up, put our flag vests on, pretending like they're going to save our lives. And we drive up to the border, and right before you cross the border, there's a spray-painted concrete barrier. It's a bunker buster actually for Scud missiles, so you can hide underneath there in case you're getting attacked. Shelter. Anyways, and on it says 1,000 meters. Beware of children and roadway, because as soon as you cross the border, there's hundreds of little tiny Iraqi kids, and you know what? When I say little kids, I mean like, I'm not talking about like this guy right here. I'm talking about like 4 years old. I'm talking about little tiny kids, and they say that because they're willing to jump on your semi-truck to get food. And that's not just the first day that we crossed the border, right? You know, that's 1 year, 3 months into my deployment. Nothing changed the entire time I was there. I didn't help one kid the entire time I was there. I didn't help one woman the entire time I was there. And that's what we're over there doing. We're supposedly building a democracy for the Iraqi people. I wasn't there helping any Iraqi people. What I was doing was I was helping contractors get their supplies so they could build up our posts and our forts. We got Starbucks in Baghdad before these kids had food. They're starving to death. They're starving to death. And that's what we did. We drove past them, you know? And they're willing to jump on a semi-truck. And don't think those kids don't get run over, because you're not supposed to stop. Because your mission is more important than their lives. And that's not funny. And you do that for 1 year and 3 months and 7 days. And your whole time, you joined the U.S. Army because you want to help. Because you've seen those commercials where you're building a future, where it's about democracy. Well, I'll tell you where I'm building a future. I'm building it right here with these brothers that are standing up for democracy. It took me 2 years. 2 years before I said anything when I got home, because I felt guilty and like I didn't have a voice. Like I shouldn't be the one to say anything because I was a part of it. I was hauling Fallujah, that first attack. I held all the weapons up for that. That was my unit that held all that stuff up there. On that mission, the Marines that we were hauling, we had our events that we were going to go home. So this is our situation, right? We had loaded up all our equipment. We had washed it. We're going home. Oh, Colonel comes down. I'm sorry. Everyone form up. You're not going home. I know you've been here longer than a year, but too bad you're staying. We have critical situations going on up north, and we need ammunition. And well, regardless, right after that, it took them 3 weeks before we finally went up there. But we went up there with all this ammunition to go up there, but we didn't have radios anymore because we had turned them in. We didn't have ammo anymore because we had turned it all in because we were going home. And they couldn't give it back to us because we didn't have security clearance. So we're up on there, we're in this convoy with these Marines that are taking over Fallujah, that are about to invade it and just decimate it. And we're hauling all their supplies up there and all their ammunition, all their rockets. And an IED goes off on the road, but we didn't have any radios to call anybody. You know, so we got these Marines that just got hit in this Humvee. They've been in country maybe 2 days. Maybe 2 days. And they're dying. And what are we doing? We just form up, form a nice circle, point your weapons out there. There ain't nobody. We're in the middle of the desert. You can't see anybody. And you just wait. We can't call nobody. Let these guys bleed. You know, they got their medic, but that's not saving anybody's life. It took an hour before we got a medic back. The blood kind of just rolled all the way across the road. Anyways, that's the type of situation that's going on continuously when they say you're building a democracy that you were never trained to build. You know, you learn how to kill people in basic training. You yell, kill! You don't yell democracy. You know, and I still thought I was going to build democracy. That's how pathological this is. That's how ingrained it is in us. And that's why it's so important that IDAW exists, so we can create a platform where veterans and soldiers can start speaking out and have a voice. Because right now, the only people we're hearing from are politicians, the media, and generals. And let me tell you, not one general has walked the streets of Iraq or Afghanistan and knows what it's like to walk one of those streets or drive one of those roads. They get flown around in their little pretty helicopters with a whole squad to protect them. They don't know what it's like to be out there. We gotta start creating spaces where soldiers, where Marines can tell you about their experiences and they can share that. And that's what IDAW is about. And that's what we're building. We're building up a national movement. 2006, when I joined it, after being quiet for 2 years, after not knowing, having any community, I finally find a few veterans, and they're speaking out, and they're like, hey, let's be together, let's march together. 2004, we had 400 members. That's nothing. That's barely 2 units, you know? We had 10 chapters. Excuse me, this is 2006. A year later, at the beginning of 2007, we have 40 chapters, 4 active duty chapters, and we have almost 2,000 members. We have members right now that are sitting in Iraq that are making videos about their experiences and sending it home so people know what it's like, what they're doing every single day. Check out our website, idaw.org. We got members that are in Germany, we got members that are in Afghanistan, we got members that are in Fort Hood, we got members that are at Fort Drum, we got members that are at Fort Sill that are building a GI resistance movement. Because that's what's going to end this war. These politicians, it's not on their front burner. They're not watching brothers die. They're not watching sisters die. They're not watching those little kids on the side of the road. They're not seeing that every single day for a year, 3 months, and 7 days. But we are. And we don't forget it. And that's why we're here. Thanks.
One last thing I mentioned. Yes, thank you. I just want to mention that, once again, thank you to everybody and to the people that have supported us throughout the nation. But even here, we have Hans and Bob. They offer a lot of support. Other people, if I forgot to mention names, sorry about that. We have a booth set up not far from here. It's not far from here at all. It's on the other side of the, what's that building called? The Shelter House? Yeah. So we have a booth. We're getting rained out. Come by and see us, please. We've got t-shirts, literature for you to read to get more familiar with us. And we'd also like to ask you, people of Columbus, if you have a family member or someone you know that's served in the military in Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever, if you would bring them forward to us, or at least tell them about us. And there's strength in numbers. Strength in numbers. So, once again.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to finish off by saying, you know, when I first got home, I saw a lot of yellow ribbons, but I didn't see anybody actually supporting veterans. But we're right here, and we're asking for your support. And we're telling you that we're supporting our brothers and sisters. That the suicide rate is astronomical, but we're reaching out to our brothers and sisters and making those phone calls. And getting those phone calls at 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to make sure guys are all right. And we need your support. So if you can do anything, if you can help us with $1, if you can help us with 20 bucks, anything you can do, please go to our tent, please donate a few dollars. We're also selling a book of warrior writers. Actually, I'm going to read a poem, all right?
What? Well, I have no idea.
We hold writing workshops.
I don't even care.
We hold writing workshops for creative outlet. So this is one of my poems. And this is getting more dramatic because of the rain, so it's great. You know?
Well, that's mighty, though.
Alright, so this has cuss words in it. So if you're a young kid, you might want to have to cover up your ears. We got a writing prompt. It was, I am who survived, forgive me. So that's what I wrote about.
Great. I'm texting you right now. Great.
I am who survived, forgive me. I am who survived, forgive me. I am who survived, forgive me. I am who survived, don't forgive me. I'm who survived, don't forgive me. I'm who survived, don't forgive me. I'm who survived, hate me. I'm who survived, hate me. I'm who survived, fucking hate me, kill me. I am who? I am who? I am who? I am who helped dirt and dust and death. I am who drove through dirt, dust, flesh, and guts. I am who? Kill me. I am who? Kill me. Not them or you or fucking kid on road, on death, on lust, on blood, and dirt, blood, road, flood, horizon. I am. I am. I am guilt and guts and hate and loss. I am nothing. I am lost and tired and nothing. I am lost, guts, grown up, shit. I am who survived. Kill me. I am who survived. I. Fuck I. I'm who survived.
That's a poem from Warrior Writers. So, this Columbus rainstorms. Wow. What's it gonna do next? Can anybody tell us? Tornadoes? Oh man. If you guys, I mean, I guess, I don't know, we're waiting. I think we're off. So, thanks again. Come see us at their booth. So.
How are you now?
Yeah, it's down the street.
Wrong one, guys.
There's a reason.
One guy.
We're speaking again at 5:45 on the main stage. And then also,
My favorite album. We played back yeah, you should take that. Alright, so how does that work? You hit stop and it'll fade out if it doesn't, then you can do the production.
Please.